When I read the details of Mega Raichu X, the first thing that came to mind is, man, this Pokemon is going to be strong in competitive, right? So that's why I want to do a video about. Let's see the potential for Mega Raichu in competitive Pokemon when that happens for Pokemon Champions. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, and comment your thoughts down below. So the repulsion from the electromagnetic force generated from its two tails allows it to float as it moves. Alright, levitate it. Bro, nah, they can't. That was actually the one thing I was planning on excluding from this video because it's Pokemon Legends. We don't just get the ability details like we do with other main series Pokemon games. So it feels kind of difficult to speculate on. But with this, yeah, that actually sounds terrifying, especially as a tank. So, pure electric type with levitate, that's a Mega, and it's also a mascot. This has to, like, that's immediately S tier right there. Its ample subcutaneous fat can store up electric energy, so we can see, like, yep, that's this guy's gonna be the tanky one. He also looks a little pudgy. Letting it maintain a high electrical output and heightening its defensive capabilities. Using electromagnetism to propel itself swiftly through the air, it can take down opponents several times its size with a single blow of its electrically charged fist. Bears a distinctive resemblance to regular Raichu. And then we got Mega Raichu Y, where it's going to be the opposite. I mean, like, it's really cool, especially from a competitive standpoint, which also just kind of shows, like, oh, Pokemon Legends as a series just ruins everything about Pokemon. The true Kalos remake, where we get to relive the fun of Pokemon X and Y and explore the most untapped region in all of Pokemon, and then Megas get to debut crazier than ever just to kind of give us that experience again. But no, instead we're trapped inside of a small city to rewrite all of this beautiful lore that came out for Pokemon X and Y, or at least the potential for the story of the Kalos region and Generation 6. Okay, let's actually see what this Pikachu's up to. So Mega Raichu Y's greatest strength is its ability to unleash its power instantaneously. So it excels in short, decisive battles. So comment that down below. What do you think Mega Raichu Y's ability is going to be? I can't really think of anything unless it's stupid stuff like Sheer Force. But Sheer Force is just kind of like slapped in as some kind of damage buffer, and we're already going to be getting a huge offensive and speed boost for the Mega stats, so it just feels wrong and maybe too powerful. However, Mega Beedrill is awful, so maybe not. It's just really weird, and then I can't really think of like anything in the vast wealth of abilities that kind of makes sense. So the energy generated in these cheeks is amplified as it courses in a zigzag pattern, and then the spiky horn-like fur on its head, unleashing powerful electric-type moves. All this electric energy gives a wild and combative temperament. It eschews tactical maneuvers in favor of a straightforward approach to battling, and then it resembles a resemblance to Pikachu. So, like, no guard on just, like, a raw sweeping Pokemon would be really cool, but there isn't a place to put it on the Pikachu, like, oh, you get to use Thunder now. Sheer Force is just better then. Real talk, why don't we have, like, a true sweeper with no guard? I'm kind of not counting Mega Pidgeot, and that's also why it is weird, because, okay, Mega Pidgeot already got, like, the cool ability that wasn't really explored that much in Pokemon, didn't really do too much with it, because, like, okay, it can land a Hurricane now, without any item to boost its special attack damage. Not really that great. And then with Sheer Force, oh, we just gave it to Charizard, so it could be a Charizard with Mega Stats and get its Life Orb back anyways. Good luck, have fun. So there's just weird stuff to play around with on this Pokemon. But I think the first thing we need to do is look at the stat potential. Problem number 1. What do modern Mega Stats look like when it comes to Game Freak? Because with the first wave of Mega Pokemon, they didn't get 100 stats. Like, oh, it's a special attacker that gets plus 10 in attack. Or a sweeping Pokemon that goes from 60 defense to 70. It's like, but more got like 60, 70 effective stat points. That might be an interesting video to do. Where it's just like, you look at how much a Mega Pokemon actually got. And then Alakazam was weird because it only got plus 90 instead of 100. Because like, oh, it'd actually be too broken if those stat points went anywhere. And if we put it on attack, well, then people are going to make fun of us. So, yeah. Mega Raichu X being first, I'm thinking is going to go into attack. So, like, what, plus 40 right there? Because if a Pokemon doesn't have 130 attack, it's not even good. And then maybe it loses special attacks on like -10, and maybe we get some more points to play around with. And then also on durability. Like, you actually can't even do like, unless you want to be as silly as possible, it's like, well, we can go plus 45 here, and then it has 100. And then we don't really have too much. Maybe it loses speed. We saw Garchomp lose speed, and then those points went elsewhere. But it's like, okay, so this goes 90. And then this goes down to 80. Even though I could see, actually, no, I see it keeping the special attack. So it actually ends up at like a 130, 100, and then maybe the extra points actually just go into special attack, and then like 110, maybe, because it still has like some power behind it, 100, and then 90? Except this might be like 105 because math. So it's like stuck on 60 hit points. But if the defenses go high enough, that's fine, because maxing out hit points, like, okay, cool, we're dealing with Rotom. And we've kind of just remade Garchomp. And then it doesn't have an item, and then it gets Levitate. So I mean, like, actually, like, Game Freak has to do the craziest thing with these stats, don't they? Alright, what's the most hilarious thing Game Freak can do? I think they can go plus 50, and then plus 50. And then everything else is the same. So like 60, 105, 130 on defenses, 90, 90, and then 110 speed. Okay, we just remade Screamtail, I guess. Which is an interesting thing about why I wanted to make this video, because again, reading the description for Mega Raichu X, I thought, okay, this thing has to be broken. This thing actually has to be a really good tank. The 100 points are what's going to be what saves Raichu, regardless of its base stat total. Maybe not, unless they actually do cut things out, where it's just like, yeah, we strip down this speed. Even though, like, fast tanks are an untapped niche that I think is really cool. Like, that's Screamtail. Screamtail outspeeds everything and then can just do a bulk up or Calm Mind or something. And then it's like, oh, it just has stats. Same thing why I like Prankster Pokemon, where Klefki, it just doubles its defense before it gets hit, so it can actually survive an Earthquake and not even care. And a lot of other Pokemon are like that. So, can we keep that for Raichu? That'd be actually a lot cooler of an idea. And then, does it need to have super high things? Like, it just needs to be a bulky Raichu. And the most direct way of going bulky Raichu is just go plus 50, and it's kind of just memes. Also, flashbang warning, we're going back to Pokemon Showdown, see if there's anything else here. And this is also where I was thinking, like, well, if it gets Draining Kiss. So, Mega could actually be pretty cool. And then it's also extra weird, because Raichu had Calm Mind in the previous generation with a TR. Wait, not a TR. Legends Arceus for some reason. But now it doesn't have Calm Mind. But if it gets it back for Pokemon Champions, because that's like, you're not bound by the game. You're not bound by move tutors or whatever systems. Just like, it gets this move now. And you just get to pay points to learn it. So like, if there's a Calm Mind Draining Kiss angle on the Raichu, then it's shattered if it can get any amount of defenses more into it. And then like, now we're actually dealing with some kind of Draining Kiss Clefable scenario on durability, where like, yeah, we max out hit points, we don't need to put anything into a 100, 110 defense, and then Calm Mind carries on the special defense, which is also potentially getting buffed, and then we're fast, and who cares about 90 special attack if we're actually just going to be going plus 3 Calm Mind. We can heal on that Draining Kiss, and then we also just have like definitive blows on the Thunderbolt while having no weaknesses. That could actually be really cool. Which brings us to an interesting point about WolfClick cheating to win the 2016 Pokemon World Championships, because it showed that Raichu is a very devastating support Pokemon, especially when you have the 1 in 25 million odds discontinued hacked event Raichu, where that Endeavor, yeah, it's crazy. And then, oh, it has Fake Out and Nuzzle? So, it's like Seijun Park's Pachirisu that can also Fake Out, has the Endeavor to just nullify any of the crazy megas and legendary format stuff that's going on, and it can just do whatever it wants. And it gets even weirder when you look into WolfClick's career cheating, because he was playing around with other Raichu that year, but that's how we found out about the hacked Dream Ball Raichu with an egg move, because, oh, yeah, Encore is also pretty crazy, and now Raichu just has all that. So you can go Encore and Endeavor, and then do whatever other stuff, Fake Out, and then Nuzzle, and if you put that, like, is this where you put your Mega Power? But if it is, like, tanky and just can't be dealt with, and then gets, like, 3 turns to do whatever, where it's like, okay, Fake Out, it's actually just fine. And then it can encore a protect or something, or it has that nuzzle to just go and paralyze something, takes a hit, does another thing, takes a hit, endeavor, and then pieces out. Might have been worth a Mega, because it's a threat that you have to deal with. And even if like you're using your Mega to do something about it, it's not going to get one shot. And then we have the competitive quality of life that's been brought into the Pokemon games to kind of streamline and standardize Pokemon movesets, because you can't have Encore and Endeavor on a Raichu in 2016, since the events and all those things never lined up. But now you can. However, Raichu did get power crept from like Generation 6, or not 6, from Generation 7, 8, and 9. And now it gets some of that power back into Mega Evolution to offset that. I think Game Freak actually has to push it, and if they do, doubles Menace, but also singles potential if it still has that Calm Mind. And no, Wolf-Click doesn't get any credit for finding the hacked moveset that any legitimate player would look at and go, oh, I can't bring that because I'm going to get disqualified for cheating, since it's impossible to get the perfect IVs on this event Raichu. So you can't even consider the power of Endeavor Raichu, and also because Wolf-Click was just playing with a natural Raichu on that Encore, it would show that, yeah, he'd just stumble into the moveset and be like, oh, what do we have? Oh, this event. I'm just going to hack it in. Hey, look at that, I won Worlds because no one else could have this. Wolf-Click's a cheating fraud. Let's talk about Mega Raichu why. It's going to come down to stats and ability. It needs to get like plus 20 in defense to not get one shot, but even then like 75, 60, you Mega and then you get bopped by anything physical, but at least you outspeed it and then you have a chance. But it's mostly going to be a revenge Pokemon where it's like, okay, you come in a good situation, you nasty plot, and then you just reverse sweep. You just have to be the ultimate cleanup Pokemon where like, yeah, nasty plot, Thunderbolt on 130, 140 special attack with a 140 speed. Hopefully that's just good enough. Coverage, profit, I guess. But that also brings up a thing where it's like, oh, Mega Pokemon are just crazy, and they're like the raid boss of your team that you need to build your entire team around if you want to be a successful trainer, which is also why I think Mega Evolution is just a really bad gimmick for one of many reasons. And it makes me wonder, why don't we just make Mega Raichu now in current Pokemon? Because if you set up with something like a Sticky Web, that's going to fix your speed issues, and then if we give it something like a Life Orb, that probably brings us close to the overall stats. 145 is going to be 197, and then we have 142, and then we give that 30%. Close enough. Like, Specs does kind of limit us, but it's kind of the same idea. We're like, okay, we do some Sticky Web shenanigans, and then we revenge with our Raichu that just goes nasty plot and then one-shots the rest of the team. It was kind of always there on Life Orb. Where's the Tailwind Discharge Lightning Rod in VGC? I don't know. Everyone's an unskilled cheater, so maybe it's just completely untapped with competitive Pokemon, like how Pokemon Unite never developed. So yeah, it's kind of the thing where the most you can do with Mega Raichu Y is just have better stats on current attempts at sweeping Raichu, which is just completely unplayed. And then all of the discussion here is around Beedrill, like 90 attack to 150 attack. Game Freak will do it. 75 speed to 145 speed. Game Freak will do it. So that's like a 495 Pokemon that are just like, yeah, adaptability to make up for the loss of items, so it just gets 30% more damage right there. So it's like, yeah, you have your Life Orb on stab for free, or you, again, other Pokemon will just go sheer force or something, and then it's crazy like that. Also, even reducing the special attack significantly to find these stats for the Beedrill, and then it just wasn't good. So here's your Mega Pikachu, 150 special attack, 145 speed. Is it going to be good? I don't know. I mean, Beedrill gets Swords Dance, and like it still wasn't this Swords Dance and then one-shot everything. Priority still really matters, especially with something like a Sucker Punch. And then Pikachu is defensively weak, or Raichu. It's the same Pokemon at this point with how they designed it. But I mean, like, yeah, it's actually Mega Beedrill. We don't consider these things, so it's like, Raichu doesn't get played, but surely it's more durable than Beedrill? Actually, no, on that, like, physical defense, where, like, a strong enough Sucker Punch will just KO you. You're just KO'd by any physical hit, so it's hard to find the nasty plot. It's hard to find the Mega Beedrill Swords Dance, and then be in the perfect scenario to just wipe out and clean up the rest of your opposing team, while they also have the ability to bring a Mega against you and just say, like, bro, what are you doing here? I'm just gonna Mega my thing, get the defensive stats, survive? And it doesn't matter if you have a 150 attack, and 145 speed is no different than 90 speed if you're playing with a tank or bulky Pokemon. Dragonite doesn't care. It's going to Dragon Dance and then one-shot you on an extreme speed or something. But also, back in Generation 6, it was mostly new players trying to learn competitive and overwhelmingly Smogon at that time, so players worse than new players, which means, did we ever see any like proper development or use of team building around Mega Beedrill? Is it just a cursed Pokemon that will never be good? I feel like Damage Theory doesn't really save this thing because it either works or it doesn't, and that was another thing about Mega Lucario. Mega Lucario is not a threat at all, and if you compare its damage numbers then to just the average Pokemon now, it is shocking how bad Mega Lucario is. So almost everyone was just bad at Pokemon back in Generation 6, which makes it harder to kind of reapply Damage Theory to older Pokemon, and then that's going to get thrown out anyways. Like, it's one of those things like, oh, is it worth doing Mega Beedrill Deep Dive? Well, dislike botting and shadow banning by YouTube and the current algorithm and viewership just being terrible means it's just going to be an invisible video, but also kind of doesn't matter because now we got to deal with that for Pokemon Champions in Generation 9. What does that mean? Was it good back then? My gut reaction is this thing is completely unsalvageable, which also means, like, for Pokemon Champions Generation 9, it can't be much better unless you're playing, like, very specific counter Beedrill to a very specific meta or something. Like, viable. It, like, probably at best viable, but not oppressive. Even though it, like, looks like one of the craziest Pokemon ever. Who even knows? And then who knows what that means for modern Mega Beedrill, Raichu, Pikachu Y kind of Pokemon. But yeah, I don't think there's much to go off of here. And then I think, like, yeah, Mega Raichu X is going to be the menace because bulk bruisery just kind of succeeds a bit more, especially now with, like, the current way that Pokemon's been going. And Raichu always had the kit, it just didn't have the stats and then got power crept. So it could be pretty interesting to see what happens there. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.